All right, we're talking about teaching in a digital world. This is my digital narrated presentation for Grand Canyon University Technology 520. Information technology and the internet are rapidly transforming almost every aspect of our lives, some for the better, some for the worse. This is a quote by John Landgraf, and he's just kind of talking about how information technology and the internet are rapidly changing the way that we live today. Things that we used to do, we don't do anymore. I want you to take some time and think about some of the things that we no longer do because of technology. One of the things that I can think of right off the top of my head, memorizing phone numbers. I do not memorize phone numbers anymore. My mom changed her phone number recently, and I can't tell you what it is. I do not know because that is something that I no longer do. With technology, with smartphones, nowadays, you plug in a name, you plug in a number, you have somebody share a contact with you. You no longer have to memorize phone numbers. You just type in the name and bam, it makes the call. So this is something that I no longer do because of the use of technology. How many of you still use map books? My husband used to have a Metro key book that used to help us find every street in the place that we stay. How many of us still do that? No one does that anymore. We have GPS. And now you don't even have to buy the separate one. Almost all of us have GPS on our phones. Listen to a cassette tape, listen to a CD, recorded VHS. These are things that we no longer do as adults. These are things that our students, our children, will probably never ever see or experience because of technology. And I'm sure we all have examples of these things. Because of the addition of technology, we don't do these things anymore. Let's for a minute just go ahead and take a look at the development of technology and how it has evolved in the past 20 years. Let's look in the 1980s when we first had the emergence of electronic mail, the cell phone. You guys remember how big the cell phone was? The cell phone, the first laptop that really wasn't a laptop because it was very, very heavy. That thing had to weigh about 10 pounds. I remember that emerging in the 1980s. The screen was completely green, no graphics, no color, no anything. Okay, in the 1980s. In the 1990s, this is when the World Wide Web became public. Before then, it was only used by the government and government officials and things of that nature. But now the World Wide Web became available to everybody. Anybody remember AOL? Dial up? You've got mail. The slow dial-up connections. You had to have a separate phone line to access the internet. Okay. These are things that now are of the past. Kids will never experience this. But these are things if you were, which I'm sure you were, during this time, alive during this time, then you know that these things have emerged, changed. eBay in the 1990s now giving us access to thousands of products, limitless products from different places, different areas, different countries. Okay. Now we have the access to that text messaging and not via phone. We're talking about instant messaging. Remember AIM, AOL, instant messaging. We're seeing the first wikis, net libraries. Anybody have card catalogs anymore? No, everything is digital. Education wise, you're looking at the release of PowerPoint now. Now we can see something a little bit more alive and in color in class. Whiteboards, more interaction um is being encouraged inside of the classroom and in business as well. In the early 2000s, we're looking at the emergence of Android and iPhones, still two of the most popular smartphones on the market today. You're looking at social media like Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, Skype, allowing people to connect all over the world, talk, communicate, catch up, whatever, all over the world. These technologies are emerging. YouTube is introduced. Now people are able to upload videos of almost any and everything. Podcasts, iTunes. All right, we're coming out with smaller PCs, tablets now, okay, are being introduced. In the late 2000s, we're looking at things like iPads now. There are apps for everything. Instagram, where your social media is changing from just text and words to pictures and videos, live streaming. Okay, all of this is in the 2000s, the late 2000s. Digital music is outselling CDs now. You want to know why it costs $200 to see Bruno Mars? It's because of digital music. Digital music. I'm an Apple Music user. I don't have CDs in my car. I bring my phone. It connects to Apple Play, which is now in almost every vehicle that you buy because of iPhone. Connects to Apple Play, and bam, all of my music is right there at my fingertips. So artists don't really make sales from CDs anymore. It's digital downloading, so they have to charge more for concerts. App is now the word of the year because that's what we're seeing, a constant emergence of applications for this and that. Emerging technologies that we're starting to see more of now that are still in development but are being used. We're looking at 3D printing. I had never saw a 3D printer in operation until I went to Shriners Hospital, and they used a 3D printer to create a prototype of a possible prosthetic that they wanted to use for a burn patient. I thought it was awesome. That 3D technology. Of course, with all the digitization, we're looking, and of course, with the technology implementation, we're talking about tablets and laptops and things of that nature, smartphones. We're looking at more digital textbooks. They want textbooks to be more interactive. We're sending students to research online. They want to be able to click in it inside of a textbook. Okay. Game-based learning, one of the most interesting things that I read was a teacher using Madden to teach students um, geometry, algebra, math, football field, plays. Awesome use of game-based learning. World of Warcraft is also being used in classrooms. You have open education resources that you can get from all over. Wearable technology. I told you guys that I'm an Apple person, so I do have an Apple Watch. That's wearable technology. Um, I can text. I can talk. I can answer email, look at pictures, see where my husband and my kids are based on their phone location. There are so many things. Track my heart rate. All on this wearable technology. We also have virtual technology that you can wear and be a part of as well. So these technologies are on the rise. Flipped classroom, which is not necessarily a new use of technology, but definitely something that's become more and more popular, something that I've actually embraced myself for the first time, and it's working out phenomenally, where I allow my kids to watch my lectures online, and then they come in and we can do more deeper, enriching, relevant activities in the classroom, more collaboration, more project-based learning, those things. This is in the rise of technology. These are things that are changing. As technology emerges and evolves, society is changing and emerging. And what's normal now is not what was normal when we were students or when we were kids. Um, I use this commercial. It's called Future Son. I'm sure many of you have seen it. It's a progressive commercial, and I use it because I feel like it's an adequate adaptation to where we're going as far as technology is and where some of us are as far as technology usage um, right now. Take a look. Awesome example of where we are today. Over 6 million Americans are pursuing an online education. You have more people who are getting masters, getting doctorates, getting associate's degrees online. You have more schools that are offering some type of class, be it high school, be it technical colleges, be it universities. They're offering distance learning, that online learning. That is a norm. It's normal for people to do that today. 70% of Americans are now using social media. Who talks anymore? Who has conversations face to face? Um, it's something that's becoming less and less normal. I'm sorry, more and more normal for people to have conversations and friends and meet people via social media. Okay, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Snapchat. These are things that are being used. Twitter by 77% of Americans. 1 in 6 Americans own a smart speaker. That was there on that commercial. Alexa, turn on the TV. Alexa, turn the radio to 95.5. Alexa, order a pizza. There's also a Google one as well. 1 in 6 Americans own a smart speaker now. 1/3 of preschoolers and 2/3 of primary school age children now own smartphones or tablets. How many of you have seen a mom quiet a crying child with her phone now, with a YouTube video? Okay, a tablet. It's happening. It's happening. 95% of 12 to 17-year-olds are online in some way, shape, or form. They're doing research. They're on social media. They're Googling things. They're YouTubing. They're doing challenges. They're online. They have a digital footprint already, or digital fingerprint already. So our society, what's normal is changing. What does that mean for us as educators? It means that we need to pay more attention to that brain. The student brain is being conditioned to seek new stimuli constantly. Think about it. All of the screens that they're seeing with these technological devices, the colors, the graphics, things constantly moving. It's hard to maintain focus in a classroom when they're staring at you. Their brain is used to that constant stimuli. The student brain is also being conditioned, or the human brain, I should say, not just the student brain, but to task switch. Another interesting thing that I learned in a course was that there's no such thing as multitasking. Even though that's the word that's constantly being thrown out there, it's called task switching. The student brain, or the human brain, is constantly being conditioned to move from thing to thing, task to task. That focus is constantly changing and moving and shifting. And we as educators have to be able to match that constant task switching in class. We have to adapt, and um, we have to move where technology is going. We have to be able to change and adapt to the way that our students are learning, how their brains are functioning now. Teachers and students are relying more on hardware, software, networks, connected devices, as technology is becoming more and more a part of our lessons and our lesson plans, our schools, our teaching. We are relying more and more on that technology to have successful lessons, to have engaging lessons. I'm not saying that is needed, but we're relying on it more and more. We have to respond to the ever changing technologies and our ever changing students. Our lessons now have to maintain focus, they have to be more interactive, they have to be more engaging to all students, meeting them where they are, allowing them to grow in their educational experience. Okay, be a part of it. We have to respond that our technology usage has to be effective in our classroom as it accompanies our student learning. So we're going to look at some of the ways to be effective in using technology in your classroom. Because while we are relying more and more on technology, there has to be a balance that is created between teaching and technology implementation. Okay? Um, there has to be a balance. There can be a thing as too much technology. There is a such thing as too much technology. We don't want to just say that we're using technology in our classrooms. We want technology to be effective, meaning that we are getting results from using this technology. We're not just using it. We need technology to encourage student input, collect feedback from them. We want them to be actively engaged and an active participant in their learning. Let them create, let them make presentations, not just utilize the technology in class, use it out of class, use it to create their own presentation, use it to learn how um, to collaborate with other students. Okay, let them make things that are interactive. Prezzies, flip grids. Let them use that technology in order for them to um, be active in their own learning. And these are some of the applications that they can use. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention when we're encouraging their input and collecting feedback, some of the sites that they can use: Poll Daddy, Twitter, Edmodo. To do that, allowing interaction, we have whiteboards, the Bounce application, all good things to utilize within the classroom. We want to encourage collaboration because they're already connecting with others from all over online. Why not let them connect and collaborate? Why not let them connect and learn? You know, connect and give information, teach. Okay. Google Drive also allows them to collaborate on projects together with different students from all over. Promote project-based learning, Edutopia, where they're creating with technology, but also creating using their hands. You know, you want them to um, be more and more active because as they're active in their learning, things are becoming more real and relevant to them. And it helps their brain to function and remember those things. Also, is introducing that stimuli that they need. It's helping that focus and that task switching. Just giving them different opportunities to learn. Simulations are great. Economicgames.com, the business simulator. We have a business math teacher who uses this all the time. There's a simulator that shows her students how to balance their checkbooks. There's a simulator that allows them to create a business, fill out a bank application, applying for a loan for that business. These are things that give students that real world experience and effectively using technology within the classroom. Video conferencing is also a great way to allow them to connect, to collaborate, um, to interact, to get feedback, to give feedback. Sometimes when you want to bring a guest to class, hey, here you go, Skype, you know, Google Hangout. All right, these are effective ways that we can use this new and upcoming and emerging technology in our classroom. Now, of course, with the usage of technology, there's also the potential for distraction. Um, these are, of course, not ways to completely eliminate, but hopefully I can offer you some ways to minimize technology distraction. So make sure that students are knowledgeable of technology usage policies. Every school should have a technology usage policy in place. Your students should know about that. Digital citizenship, how to use technology correctly and ethically. Your students should know about that. Not only should they know about that, but they should be held accountable to maintaining those standards. Staff and teachers should be held accountable to making sure that those standards are being followed. Give clear and adequate directions to assignments. If I'm telling them that I want them to create something using Prezi, I'm going to make sure that they know how to use it before they get to class. Okay. If they watch a video on it before, when we come into class, I'll give them a short presentation on how to use it. That way, when it's time for them to move out, they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly how to do it. It minimizes distraction because if you have one person trying to figure something out, it increases the likelihood of them asking another student, looking at an instructional video. It increases the likelihood of distraction. Use key phrases to refocus attention if you need to. Once again, that balance of technology and teaching. When I'm speaking, all technology needs to be off. All eyes on me, all screens down. You're looking at me. You're not engaging in that technology. So it's not distracting you from what I'm saying. So you can get clear directions or you can get clear information so that when you are utilizing that technology, it's being used to the best of their abilities. Look over their shoulders. When all else fails, go old school. Look at them. Make sure that you see what they're doing, what screen they're on. Do they have multiple tabs open? If I want them to be in one place, that's where you should be. Close the other tabs, close the other web browsers. Looking over their shoulders, walking around using proximity, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do and that they are where they're supposed to be. And I'm a person that does random browser checks. I do. I just do it. It keeps kids on their toes. They know that they're not going to be distracted and be somewhere else because she's going to see where you are. Okay. So these are just different ways that you can try to minimize technology distractions in your classroom during your technology lessons. And I'm sure you guys have more that you can share. And when we talk about using technology effectively and without distraction, we're talking about technologies that are emerging. We're talking about that balance that's being created between technology and teaching. How do we decide what technology to use or when to use technology in digital lesson plans or in lesson plans, period? And there are different ways that people do this. Me personally, I kind of use this little system that I created called goals, tools, and benefits. And when I mean goals, I mean objectives. I think about my overall objective for that lesson and what I'm trying to get my um, kids to accomplish. And then I will spend so much time Googling, finding different tools. Like I think about what I want them to do. I'm looking at videos, I'm looking at simulators, I'm looking at virtual tours, I'm looking at brain pops, I'm looking at online lessons, different ways for them to interact online. And then I'm going to look at what are possible benefits from using that technology. Is it actually um, going to be relevant and is it really going to enhance my lesson and help me to achieve my goals? Because I don't want to just be using technology to say that I'm utilizing it. Because if you do that, then it's going to be a waste of time. I need to find a way that technology that I'm using and the time that I'm using to implement it is going to be um, is going to be beneficial to my students. Okay, it's not just a waste of time. So that's something simple that I do. Um, are they relevant? Are they easy to use? Is it enhancing? What are the benefits? How much time? just kind of looking at and assessing that tool, trying to make sure that it works for me. Is that's going to work for my kids. And then after the lesson, I'm definitely going to go back and see what worked, what didn't work, and anything that I can change or possibly do different. That's all I have for today. I hope that I encouraged you in some way, shape, or form to utilize technology better. I hope I gave you some good tools to use in order to help implement technology in your classroom. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you.